Okay, so I've decided I'm putting something together for everybody. It's going to be a little bit lengthy. Okay, and I'm going to play this for you. But social engineering that we all know is responsible for manipulation. The world we live in, filled full of lies. Everything you've learned pretty much your entire life has been a lie. Not everything, but the majority. Okay, you haven't been told the truth since the day you were born. Okay, truth has been used as a weapon against you. Truth is being told and it's being manipulated. It's being added onto. It's being distorted. We all know this, okay? And the new technology, our internet, the new way of doing it. For years they used radios, books, magazines, your school system, and of course your television set's been a big, big weapon used against you. So is entertainment. Sold on to you as entertainment news was really used as a weapon against you for programming you to change one's belief system. Okay, is to brainwash somebody. To brainwash an entire population is to change one's belief system or perception. But we've gotten much more slicker. I think there's a lot of truth being told here, but there's also a lot of propaganda going on here. And we're being bombarded, okay, literally, from all directions. Even online on YouTube right now, you're being bombarded, okay, every day. And you're being bombarded by some of the very people you believe and trust and are following, okay, are also in on this agenda. NWO. That's right. And of course, the end story will be like always. See, it's for their own gain at the end. But let's play this, then I'll explain it. It'll actually explain itself, and I'll break it down for you as we go. But this is social engineering that's going on right now. I mean, right now. That's not stopped, and it's only progressing, and it's right in your face.
This video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on soul agreements, soul contracts, and pre-birth agreements that no one tells you. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now, in this video,
this is a key word. He's helping people expand their consciousness. What's a lot of stuff that's been talked about by a lot of people now, as we're using new ways of selling propaganda and even telling truth, okay? But we're adding to truth, we're manipulating it, we're selling propaganda. So the end result is you're all going to come out confused, okay? But the key word right there is he's here to help you expand your consciousness. Anybody else that we know is up here helping you expand your consciousness? I'll bet you can think of a whole lot of people right now. From TED Talk to David Icke to Mark Passio to this guy here. And I'm sure the list of names just goes on and on and on of people who are here to help you expand your consciousness.
I'm going to be sharing with you more on your soul, understanding who you are at a greater level, understanding some of the things that you planned out before you were born, and what are called soul contracts, understanding more about this idea and how you can begin to, with awareness, understand who you are as a spiritual being.
Right, so, and if you catch on to this, he's going to explain to you about your soul contract. A contract you entered into before you were born. Now that's some good manipulation going on there. Okay? If he can sell that one on you, he's got you hook, line, and sinker. Because first off, How would you enter into a contract before you're born? Oh, well, that's your spirit, your soul. That's right. But you wouldn't remember it, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? If we convince you you signed or entered into a contract with us that you're obligated to uphold, and you done it before you were born, then we can make you feel guilty. It's sort of like the white people that are taking the guilt and the blame for something they had nothing to do with, slavery, in today's society. Something that happened long before they were born or their daddy was born, and they're feeling guilty about it, and they're blah, 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 because they know it's their fault. This is the same thing that's going on right here, in your face. He's here to help you expand your consciousness by letting you know that you signed a contract before you were born.
When you know this, it changes the way you go about your life because you start to diffuse a lot of the past, maybe even diffuse some of the soul contracts that you have with people that you're not even aware of. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a story. And this story is about you in higher dimensional states of consciousness when you were deciding to come to Earth. Now, this may sound a little bit esoteric. I'm sure it does. And the truth of the matter, though, is that you are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. All the great teachers of our past, enlightened people, the spiritual leaders of our past, they all point to this understanding that energy is not created nor destroyed, it simply exists, that you exist right now beyond that of just that of the physical ego structure that you are using, which means beyond the body. You are beyond the body. But growing up, guess what? We're told growing up that this body is who we are. And what we are also encouraged to do is to infuse and to really engage in our senses. Eat a little bit more food. Would you like to supersize that? Where and are you going to watch this movie, the stimulation, all of this bringing us more into the senses? And the more that we're in the senses, the more that we re-emphasize our body and the less we are aware that we are more than our body. When in actuality, we are immortal spiritual beings living a temporary human experience. This body is a vehicle.
In the way that all
Now, I'm not going to disregard some of what he's saying, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is being used in the same light as we did to convince white people in today's society that they were responsible for the enslavement of black people before they were born. Okay? It's in that same light, same raw when you really think about it. Very well thought out and spoke to convince you he's actually not saying what he's really saying. Okay? But he is. You just got to pay attention. I don't care how professionally spoken he is. This is where they get you. They're going to use well-spoke, well-sounded stuff to sell you. That's right, to sell you onto something that's not necessarily true at all. And when he says your contract before you were born, that should have been red flag immediately.
described, and the way we're experiencing now, not even by the day, but by the bloody hour, of more and more surveillance, more and more control, more and more suppression, more and more police state. And in doing so, manipulating the way we perceive reality, so we, as the external world moves in on us, the internal world moves in on us, and we become less and less of who we are. So, let's get real bloody bizarre now. The fairy stories and the fairy tales of the frog turning into the prince and all these constant themes relates to the same stuff in the ancient world coming through to today. And this is a book that's given to some American school children, and it's about shape-shifting from reptilian into human. And they say I'm crazy, and they're giving it to school kids. Oh, it's just a story. No, it's not. I wish it was. And this is a point, and this has got me tremendous ridicule. I don't care, I'm bothered. But shape-shifting, right? This is another recurring theme, not just in the endless people now around the world who said, yeah, I saw that, I've experienced that, seeing someone move from a human to a reptilian form and back again. You find this too in the ancient accounts, the shapeshifters, and not just into reptilian, but into other forms as well. And then, again, I keep saying it, this is why the first part of this presentation was so important, because without that, we really can't get a fix on some of this stuff. People say, and I understand it completely, you can't shift from a solid body to a solid body and back again. It's daft. I agree completely. You can't. But that's not what's happening. These different physical forms are energetic fields. Let's go back to that image from earlier of the energy field. It goes through the decoding system and becomes an apparently physical form that we see in our everyday life. Shape-shifting...
Now, I'm going to stop it right here for a moment, because there's some things I want to say, okay? Some of the other stuff I've already been showing you recently, and I actually do believe we probably have a outside force, entity, whatever you want to call it, alien, something of another force that's been manipulating and controlling man probably for a long time now at the top of that pyramid. Okay? I'm not outside of the box when it comes to the fact that we live on a planet right now where we have many life forms surrounding us every day. We have them on land, we have them in the water, we have them all around us, right? And anybody that denies that's clearly not in reality, because you look up in the sky, you see birds, you got cats, you got dogs, you got zebras, you got elephants, you got giraffes, you got penguins, you got, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Not even counting insects, okay? Not counting plants or trees. Them are live things. So we are surrounded full of other forms of life. To think that there's another form of life that could be more intelligent than humans, that could have even come from another planet or another universe, whatever, to think that that's completely insane, I would have to challenge you and say, I would think you would be more insane to say there's no such thing when you can't prove there isn't, and I can't prove there is. But I can look around me and physically know we have all these other life forms, and that we have supposedly left the earth. Okay, this is what they tell you, right? And I could use enough common sense to say that we got all these other life forms surrounding us. To say that there's no other type of life form that could be more intelligent than us, okay, more smarter than us, that could have come from somewhere else, to me that would be a nutty thing to say. I would rather sit on a fence and say I can't concretely prove either or, so I'm not going to give you this is true or not true. I would rather go that route. But what he's talking about here, and what he's going to use, is the very thing you saw at the very beginning of the video. And I think there's some truth to your consciousness. There is truth to the way we see things through frequencies and our decoding system. See, they're telling you truths here. What's the one thing that we've always been told? They were going to tell us what they were going to do, then they were going to do it, and that we would do nothing about it. They've always told us they were going to tell us, and we would do nothing about it. Okay? And I'm telling you, this is social engineering at its best. Right in your face every single day in 2019. Okay? And it's for an end goal. And we'll get into that as it goes, but watch out.
It takes place in one place only, in the decoding system of the brain, which again itself is a vibrational field beyond the physical. So you have an energy field that is human, And you're decoding that into a human body. Then the reptilian level of that comes forward and becomes the dominant field, and suddenly you're decoding a different energy field, and then it returns and you're decoding this one again. In your decoded reality in the experienced holographic physical world, you see someone human, you see him reptilian, you see him human. Did you see that? It's only going on in here. Of course, shape-shifting from solid to solid to solid is impossible, but that's not what it is. How appropriate. Because they're holograms. All physicality is holograms. It is an energetic field, and at the end, the level of the energetic field, because it's not solid, it's movable, changeable, and then becomes changeable in the decoded reality as we observe it in their head. That's where shape-shifting goes on. And again, we are perceiving, through what we call visible light, a tiny frequency range of human sight, human decoding. But just outside of this frequency range, and beyond into frequencies well away from this one, are endless kind of worlds and realities. And I say further away in that sense, but actually they're all sharing the same space. You know, in this space that I'm standing in now are all the radio and television stations broadcasting to Melbourne. I can't see them, they can't see each other, because they are operating on different frequencies. And when you tune into one of those frequencies, that's what you get. And what this physical body does is to tune us through that telescope I talked about earlier into and through the receiver-transmitter crystalline structure, it tunes us into this tiny range of frequencies called visible light, and this becomes the only reality. But interspersing this reality is all existence. And just outside of this frequency range, just beyond visible light, lie these reptilian entities and many other entities too. And, you know, you'll be in a house and you'll see a cat, for instance, reacting to what is to us empty space. And you'll say, what's wrong with a cat? Don't be daft, nothing there. But to the cat, there is something there. Because its visual frequency range is much greater than ours, and therefore it's seeing things in the space that we can't see.
Hello and welcome to this video cast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, I'm going to take some questions this week, had a lot sent in, and I'm going to start with one from Kevin Black, which asks, is the Earth flat? Well, the reason for asking that question, only he knows, but my reply is, how would we know? How would we know if there really was an Earth?
Pay attention to what's being said here close. See as much truth as this guy's told. Remember, I told you, this guy's most likely an agent. Okay? He's a plant. He's an agent. His official story where he got his knowledge? BS. BS. Okay? Of course, I've listened to him because he tells a whole lot of truth, right? But you need to be, well, let's use their own words against him, on a higher consciousness, more aware of what's really going on, so that this very guy right here can't deceive you. Because you're going to, for you people who are totally hooked into him, you're going to, he will never lie because deceive you. Yes, he will. He's doing it right here. Watch and see. He's doing it right here. He is helping them with today's time in 2019. He is helping them with social engineering. That's what he's here for. So you got a lot of big names all over YouTube right now. They're doing the same thing. Absolutely not. Every time I try to do this, this is when somebody thinks they're calling. Anyhow. So, outside of the distractions, he is doing just exactly that. Okay? He is helping the powers to be. At the top. This is what he's doing right here, okay? He's going to still sell you into a state of confusion. No different than we all know that you have female and male, but not no more. No. In the last few years, we've got a whole bunch of different sexes now. Yeah, last time I looked, there was like 50 something or 60 different genders. No, there's not. But you people are believing there is because your perceptions are being changed through stuff like this. Listen up.
Well, we live on the Earth, don't we? It's all around us and you see it from space. Yeah, but what are we seeing? See, this is an area of research to understand the human situation that is ignored by almost everybody. You will see the research, I do it myself, and it needs doing, into political manipulation, financial manipulation, manipulation of wars, engineered terrorist attacks, and all that. And it needs to be done. But the bottom line, surely, is to understand the very reality that we're experiencing. What we call life, what we call the world. What is it? It seems, on the face of it, to be very simple. It's a planet, it's a universe, and it's solid and stuff. It's all matter. But when you go deeper into it, actually not very deep, really, to start with, none of that is true. We don't live in a solid world. Quantum physics has shown that for a long time. We live in an illusory world that appears to be physical, but isn't. And we are experiencing the vastly advanced version of a video game, a simulation. And when you look at how people play video games, these virtual reality video games, I mean, what is happening? People put goggles on, they put headsets and earphones on, and they, often put gloves on. And what that is doing is simply hijacking, hacking into the way that we are decoding reality all the time. Because what is happening is that waveform information is being turned into electrical information by the five senses and then communicated to the brain. And the brain then decodes that. In fact, the whole genetic structure is involved, but the brain decodes that into the reality we think we're experiencing. This is what's happening. This simulation that I've been talking about for so long in the books is like a Wi-Fi situation. If you are in a place that has Wi-Fi, you can't see it, but it's in the atmosphere all around you, in the unseen. And the computer then decodes that information field into what we see on the screen. You talk about the internet. Well, you say the internet is graphics and pictures and moving pictures and words. Oh yes, but only on the screen. Everywhere else, it's just in the form of encoded information. And so what we're doing through what I call the biological computer is receiving and transmitting information, interacting with this field, what I call the cosmic internet. Think of it like a cosmic Wi-Fi field. And as we do so, we appear to be in a world, but we're actually only decoding it.
Okay, now, if you paid attention close, then you'll understand. See, they're using truth, and then they're adding to the truth, and they're twisting, and they're manipulating. That's what he done here. He's using truth. He added to the truth. Then we're twisting and we're manipulating to cause confusion, to change one's belief system to the power to be at the top's agenda. And how can I say that? Let's just go what he just said about flat earth and round earth. Let's take the fact that the human brain does what he says is like a computer. It's not a computer, but it's like a computer. He didn't lie to you about that part. Okay, not so ever. He didn't lie to you about like the Wi-Fi because they can use frequencies already, and they can make you think something, see something, whatever they want through a frequency that's presented to you that your brain would decode and your eyes would see as. Do you follow what I'm telling you? Now let's go to something that's going to really mess up what he's saying here, because what he's doing is going along with the social engineering because he's helping them to program you. He is helping them in 2019, in 2018, in 2017, in 2016. Do you want me to keep going? He is a tool. He has been here helping the globalist all along. Okay? Not that he don't tell truth, because he has to. He tells one hell of a lot of truth. And it's the truth part that I stand by. But I'm also not stupid. Wasn't born yesterday. Okay? I have a good focus compass of time that I've been on Earth, just as he does. Okay? And I'm going to give you a little something to chew on here when it comes to flat Earth and round Earth. The aviation industry that's been flying planes over your heads, that's been landing based on coordinates and compasses that he calls a hologram. Okay? I hate to knock on wood here, but I'm going to tell you, that's not a hologram. That's not what your brain's decoding and it ain't even really there. You didn't climb in a cartoon airplane on Bugs Bunny or Yosemite Sam and fly from one point to another in a cartoon. In a hologram, in an illusion. Okay? The compasses, the gauges on this plane, and coordinates of where the plane's landing at. If it was not a reality, or if it could change because it's not a reality, we would have a whole lot more crashes coming down than you think there would be, because you couldn't be landing at the airport at this coordinates of that land of an hallucination. Furthermore, I've been up on YouTube since 2006, 2007, in and around that area. And I can tell you this right now, there was no such thing as a flat earther video anywhere. And when the flat earther thing came on board on YouTube, from zero videos, zero nothing on flat earth, to hundreds and hundreds of professionally made Hollywood grade documentaries, videos on flat Earth. Which means it was an NWO agenda, and Hollywood sat there and made these and archived them, made them and archived them, and made them and archived them for who knows how many years before the release date, and then they set a date, and because Hollywood and Google are all owned by the same entities, all in bed together, and the elite run and control this like a thief in the night, they come in and posted all these videos up and brought you flat Earth. Just like we brought you from male to female, 2 genders, and every now and again you might get a freak off where you get what they call a hermaphrodite, a person who was born with both sex organs. That would be it. There's your limit. There's your limit right there. Circle it. That's over with, right? But now we have, 50, 60 different genders? And people believing, solely believe that there's this many genders. What is that? That's social engineering at its finest. That is brainwashing at its finest. In your face. Now, the very man you just saw himself tells you, this is what's ironic about this. He is telling you what they're going to do. He is telling you their plans, the elite's plans. Because he's been told to tell you by the people at the top. And he's allowed to tell you. And at the same time he's telling you, he's also involved in social engineering you to accept. Think about his talk about artificial intelligence, the end game, that he is telling you is for 2030, for 2030, and artificial intelligence and chipping the human mind. You know, it used to be, Agenda 21, that's now turned into Agenda 30, because they couldn't accomplish Agenda 21 by 21. So they've moved it up to Agenda 30. Yeah, that's no lie. See, he told you truth, but now pay attention. He's also telling you truth, but he's also using truth to social engineer you, to condition you, to help them condition you. And that's exactly what he done with the flat Earth. He helped them to socially engineer you. And why would he do that when it couldn't be both? You either have a round Earth, as we've always known, or do we? Maybe it's flat. But then again, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a hologram. Did you see what he was doing? He was helping them with social engineering to leave you in a state of confusion, so that you're not sure what you're seeing. Now watch up.
Hey guys, I missed you guys. So, Aaron likes to poke fun at me for making Twilight Zone references at the beginning of videos like this one.
Don't get on that ship!
But I don't think I'm gonna be able to.
Now remember, these two worked for Alex Jones, for Turner Broadcasting, for Turner, Time Warner, for Hollywood. These two also signed an agreement to shut their mouth. That's right, or they could be prosecuted. These two left working for Alex Jones, Time Warner, Turner. That's right. And are working independently now. Are they? No, 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 no. Why do you think they do such good work? Why do you think they have the viewership they have? Because they are also here to help socially engineer you. That's right. This is social engineering right in your face. But it fits into everything else I showed you. Watch.
Stop doing it. Probably ever.
Now that's an important question. Stick to the subject.
I can't even give you a complete list of the plethora of TV shows, not even films, because that would be even more, but just TV shows that have come out in recent years attempting to get everyone to buy into the concept that reality isn't really what you think it is, and you yourself, you're not really who you think you are, and actually now they're doing a Twilight Zone reboot. So there you go.
To serve men, it's a cookbook.
But we have officially entered the phase of technology merging with reality that Elon Musk used to do a bit about every time people invited him to open his mouth in public for like 2 years.
40 years ago, we had Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot, like two rectangles and a dot. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic. 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And you see where things are going with virtual reality. Soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality. If you extrapolate into the future and say, well, how good, let's say, will video games be in 100 or 200 or 1,000 years from now? If you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, if you assume any improvements at all, if you assume any rate of improvement at all, like even 0.1% or something like that, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. Beyond a certain resolution, indistinguishable from reality. Indistinguishable. If it's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. Then games will be indistinguishable from reality.
Some of the games that are coming out right now, if you weren't told it was a game and you just saw footage from it, you wouldn't know that it was. It's getting to that point. Musk also talks about the fact that the VR is getting to a point that when people do it and then they take the helmet off or whatever, they come out. It's like some of the more high-end stuff they got coming out right now. When they're back in actual real physical reality that they're in, they feel like the VR was more real than the actual world. That's the level that we're at with this. That video editing technology, where a person can take a video of someone, of anyone, and make it say whatever they want it to in real time, that we reported on 3 years ago, has only gotten more sophisticated now.
Look how much you can distort the message by hijacking someone's face. It's really uncanny and eerie. I guess they're going to try to give society schizophrenia, trying to figure out when they're in the real world.
And I've got a single camera here that's watching my face and feeding some machine learning software that's taking my expression, like, and transferring it to that guy. He's actually a 3D character that I'm controlling live, in real time.
And has led the way to the creation of what is now called deep fakes, which really are some of the most hideous abominations imaginable, like this scarring video of Steve Buscemi merged with Hunger Games actress Jennifer Lawrence.
This was very truly surprising for me.
Okay, we'll stop in here for just a moment before I finish this. With Hunger Games actor, Hunger Games producer, yep. Well, else is related to Hunger Games, producer's son. Well known, isn't he? Yep. Supposedly dead, but he's not. That's right. That's right. Elliot Rogers. What else do we know that fits into everything that you're hearing right here? Oh, 9/11. Yep. Twin Towers, planes. What else do we know? A certain shooting at a school in a certain place where a bunch of invisible Well, children. Yeah. I don't want to say too much more. I mean, it might have been that handy hook or handy fluck or handy took place, you know? And an imaginary character that walked in. Oh, but then they wanted us to know about this, and they wanted you to know that the school was closed, but they also wanted you to know that it was open. Yeah. They wanted you to know that it was open and it was closed both. Do you follow what I'm telling you? Really think about this. We have done scheduling FEMA exercise drills, scheduling them for the public to see. And then the day of the drill, they take it live as a real event on TV. See, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm putting it in your face right here. Okay? This is being deliberately done. The same with the genders. There's no accidents about any of this. Cause panic, cause hate, cause anger, cause confusion. That's right. And to condition you. Through trauma. Trauma-based conditioning. Happening right in your face. And here we go.
Just nobody wants that. Really, they don't.
I hope I'm never in that, situation.
And that probably won't be the last time I use the word abomination in this video.
When you go to download the software for the first time, there's a link to a Nicolas Cage face set.
So you could put Nick Cage's face on my body.
That's correct.
Could you do it now?
Of course.
Oh my god!
The bees! Not the bees!
In fact, Samsung has developed an AI that only needs one image. Just one. And they can make it move and talk as if the person in the picture is alive. So for all the cool, realistic, historical reenactments you could make with such a technology, for just one example on one side of the spectrum, you also have to consider the myriad other ways this could be used to fool people into thinking someone said or did something that they never said or did.
It could also be used to make you think paranormal. Did you see that picture in the house? The picture, the guy was moving in the picture. It's a ghost. It's a poltergeist. It's paranormal. Follow what I'm saying to you?
And how easy that would be. Fake. That's the word. Ersatz. As our technologies get more convincingly real and begin impinging on the actual reality we experience through the perception of our five senses, things actually seem less real and thus more fake. And the less we can trust anything that we are seeing and hearing. A few years ago, AI began its foray into journalism, writing stories for major news outlets like the Associated Press and the Washington Post, just to name a couple.
There you go. She's telling you truth. Why did she get this truth? Because she's been passed down this truth. This truth has been given to them to tell to you. They would always tell us what they were going to do, and then they were going to do it, and that we would do nothing about it. And then what do we got here? Oh, AI passed it down. AI is now doing journalism. AI is giving you stories. Do you follow where we're going here? State of confusion, anger, depression. That's right. We pitted us against each other through this. We used real truth to manipulate you, to pit us against each other. That's right. Divide and conquer. That's right. Okay. Anger, which is trauma. Okay. Confusion. Okay. And then acceptance. Yeah. Acceptance, which is social engineering to change one's belief system. So we use higher consciousness, all the fancy talk, to help you to accept.
And the AI does it so well that most people can't tell the difference. So you have untold thousands of people every day reading stories written by computers, and they don't even know that they're doing it. Well, back in February, it was announced that Elon Musk's nonprofit OpenAI developed a text generator that's so good, they've declined to release it publicly for fear of misuse. So this is dubbed deepfakes for text, and it's apparently so convincingly real, and the untold risk of malicious misuse is so high, that OpenAI is actually breaking the normal practice of releasing it in order to do more research and attempt to fully discuss the ramifications of what this kind of technology will mean to a society that's increasingly living in a shrinking reality. So basically you feed this thing a few lines of text, and it's able to convincingly predict and then generate the next few sentences or pages. And it works for anything, including news, novels, whatever. Fittingly, they even had it write its own version of George Orwell's 1984. And based on what I read of what it came up with, if you slapped a person's name on that and said that it was written by so-and-so, people would buy that as a novel probably, and they would just believe it. They wouldn't even realize they were reading a book written by a computer.
Correct, they would. Because if you took a homeless man off the street that has no college, no anything behind him, cleaned him up, dressed him up well, and they knew how to read, and had him read and study a script, and you put a white jacket on him and you put him in front of a camera for enough of the tool money, and have them use their little pointer cursor and have two pictures of a human brain up there in female male, and we film them and we give them credentials that they don't even have. We lie to you and tell you they're this many years at Harvard, professor, blah, 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 okay, or whatever. You're going to fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, and you're going to believe the complete written script that this homeless man pointed at. And, I mean, it's all one realm. It's just like Elliot Rogers. We could take an actor out of Hollywood. We could put him in an $80,000 car right in front of you. We could have him do TFL-type videos. Then we could send him on a rampage. Then we can pull him off because that's an actor name. It's a screen name, okay? He's out in public alive. Nobody knows it because he's got a whole different name. Nobody's aware of it, and you all fall for it. This is how they do things. This is where we're at, okay? Why do we do this? As I say, what did I say? Okay? Anger, division, depression, trauma-based mind control. That's right. That will lead to acceptance. That's right. Confusion. You don't know what's real anymore. That's right.
The implications for propaganda here are just, you can't even think of all the ways that could be gained.
How ingrained and how connected and interconnected is this technology going to be in our life?
It will be, at some point, indistinguishable from reality.
And speaking of Joe Rogan, the AI for generated speech has become much, much more advanced since the late 90s when it was first announced publicly that scientists at the Los Alamos National Lab were using clips of our military members to generate realistic sounding fake speech. So here's a computer generated clip of Rogan saying things he never actually said.
Hey Joe Rogan, it's me, Joe Rogan. Please come save me, man. These artificial intelligence guys have trapped me in a machine.
How many people do you think would be able to tell that that wasn't really him speaking at all? So there's that. But computers aren't just generating fake video, made up text, and speech that was never spoken. They're actually generating whole people now. So this website is called This Person Does Not Exist. And the AI here is called a generative adversarial network, which has apparently only been around publicly since 2014 that we know of. But their stated goal here is to synthesize artificial images that are indistinguishable from authentic images. They trained an AI by feeding it lots and lots and lots of pictures of people And in just 2 weeks, it was able to come up with some pretty convincing pictures of human beings that they look like real people, but they don't actually exist. None of these people that you're looking at right now actually exist. None of them. And sometimes you can tell if you look real close or you pause it and stay on it for a while, but many times you can't. And I think if the average person was told that this was a real person, say on a newscast, for an example, and a whole backstory was given to something that happened to this person, they would likely accept that because, let's all say it together, we accept the reality in which we're presented.
It's as simple as that.
They conclude by saying that this is groundbreaking because, quote, it not only produces high quality and realistic images, but also allows for superior control and understanding of generated images.
Pay attention to something here. See how it's generating pictures of people that don't even exist? Think about a certain place I talked about a little earlier with a bunch of, in the pictures, showing up in more than one spot, dying more than one time. Isn't it sort of in your face?
Making it even easier than before to generate believable fake images. And they've done the same thing in other areas. You have AI that's attempting to create cats, and at least the computer is failing so far at making cats, and really just makes these H.P. Lovecraftian eldritch abominations. I don't even know what half of these are, if not creatures who disregard all natural laws of the universe as we understand them, otherwise defined as grotesque mockeries of reality beyond comprehension, whose disturbing otherness cannot be encompassed in any mortal tongue. Take everything back around full circle to the Samsung AI I mentioned earlier, which can take an image and make it talk, just one image. And what you have is artificial intelligence so advanced that it can now, in 2019, generate a completely fake person who does not exist and make that person talk. And most people will have no idea they're looking at someone who never existed saying things that were never really said. That's just the technology that's been publicly released that we know about.
Yes, and just think, we could do an entire story. We could do an entire documentary story of a man who killed his family that never existed. We could give a wife, we could show her online. That's right. Talking. The whole 9 yards. And she never existed. We could show you him. And we could make up a story for out in the world what he did. And we could show you a video of him doing an interview. And he never existed. And we could create this whole artificial story through this technology and play it to the public, and you would all believe it. And we could use it to change the laws. And the entire time, there was never a victim. A crime never took place. Well, a crime did take place. A crime against all of us. Because we were so deceived. But the actual guy who killed his family, his wife and his kids, well, he didn't exist, the wife didn't exist, the kids didn't exist, the neighbors didn't exist, the stories were all fictionally wrote. It was all put together in documentary form, video after video after video, and thrown in your face, and none of it was real. And you wouldn't be the wise of it, now would you? No, you wouldn't.
So what we're talking about
and
here
don't
is
say we
total
wouldn't do it, because yes, we would.
Technological control in a way that I don't think the average person can even fully grasp the level of. The 5 sense reality can be manipulated. Just straight up. And so we're going to live in a world where seeing is not believing. And if you're somebody who relies solely on that kind of principle, you're going to be trapped in this matrix that they've been building for decades. This is what our film.
You sure are. Because I can think of a story that I just told you about that I think is probably just exactly this. Chris Watts. Yep, the Chris Watts story. What's the chances that Chris Wattses never existed? Neither did the wife, neither did the kids, neither did the house, neither did they anything. What's the chances if it was actually this? I think the chances are pretty high of that.
The Minds of Men is actually about the world we're living in today. They've built this whole structure that they've placed over the natural world, and they can bypass your senses with it. Literally. That's what it means to say a world where you can't tell the difference anymore between reality and what that is and this matrix.
It's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it.
And it's not a coincidence at all that all the movies and TV shows that you're seeing come out right now are just right there to reinforce this idea to you that reality is not what you think it is. You aren't who you think you are. There's a hidden secret you haven't been told about everything. It's all coming together. There's a reason people refer to this as spiritual warfare.
That's right, spiritual warfare. A higher consciousness. That's right. And a top story. Look at here. And a top story, 12 killed in shooting. That's right. Witness. We kept hearing the gunshots. I'm not going to play that for you. I wanted to show you that. Did it really happen? Where was that out of? Oh, that's right. That was out of Mainstream Liars. See, think about everything that I just put in your face. The reality is this is social engineering. You're being bombarded from every direction to scare the kajibas out of you, to make you angry, to cause division, to make us fight with one another over things that none of us can back up, to cause massive confusion that will lead to acceptance, perception, higher consciousness. Oh, I said that again, didn't I? Yeah, a higher consciousness. A higher consciousness. I know I keep repeating that, right? That's because that is the new line for social engineering. This is the new way of going about social engineering in today's society. Recognize the programming that's going on right now and don't let them fool you. Recognize that you can't trust anything you see, and then get angry. Get mad. Get mad as hell. And start standing together and going after the people that are creating this technology, that are doing this to us, and take them out before the end game. This is what I've basically been trying to tell everybody for so long. And here it is, right in your face, social engineering at its finest in 2019. Wake the hell up.